Welcome to the fourth and final episode of my mini-series Teaching Music with Minecraft. If you've not yet had a chance to watch the first 3 episodes, be sure to check out those links in the video description below. But today, as we wrap up this series, I gave a little bit of a teaser last time of which type of song I would be choosing for our Minecraft music lessons. So, drum roll please. Today's focus is the song Lava Chicken. At the end of episode 3, I mentioned that this is one of the only Minecraft music discs that I actually really don't like very much at all. So you might be wondering to yourself, well, why on earth would you choose a song that you don't like to base your music lessons off of? And there's a very good reason for this. Something I try and tell my own kids at home or my music students, and honestly, this is something I feel like the world at large needs a lot of practice with, is that we need to be able to express negative opinions about something, but still do it in a way that is respectful and to back up those opinions with good reasoning as well. So when I say that I really don't like this song Lava Chicken, here's how I back it up. It actually has very little to do with the music itself. It's a super fun, catchy tune that gets stuck in your head, and really the main reason I don't particularly like it is because I have heard it now about 50 bajillion times. So it is one of those songs that once it's stuck in my head, I cannot get it out. I'm sure you probably feel the same way too. But regardless of how I may feel about the song Lava Chicken, I definitely recognize that it has some good musical value, meaning I can definitely pull musical concepts out of it to teach my students. And so I'm really wanting to show them that just because this song might not be my favorite, I don't particularly care for it, I'm still willing to meet you halfway and show interest in the songs that you like. And I have yet to meet a kid that does not become obsessed with Lava Chicken. In today's video, I'll be showing you 3 different types of activities that you can do with this music disc specifically. So make sure that you have listened to it ahead of time if you've not heard the song before, so you'll be well prepared. The first is going to be a rhythm activity that is really well suited for your younger students or your beginning students. The second one is a little bit more advanced, so better for older kids or those who already have a pretty solid rhythm foundation. And then we will finish off with a musical discussion about Lava Chicken and also compare it to some other songs that are used in video games, and we're going to help students of all ages increase their musical vocabulary. So let's jump in. We're starting off with a very basic rhythm activity with Lava Chicken, which is going to be tapping the steady beat. Now, before you just tune me out here, let me say again, steady beat is such a foundational music skill for students, even all the way up to adults of all ages. Before you can move on to more complicated rhythm concepts, you really have to be able to not only hear and identify, but be able to play a steady beat along with music. So the more opportunities we can give our students to practice playing a steady beat, the better off they will be in the long run, and the more easily those later concepts will come for them. If you have any type of percussion instruments, even a simple set of rhythm sticks works really well, and of course you can always adapt this using body percussion too. The great thing about the way Lava Chicken is arranged is that it does maintain a good steady beat all throughout the piece, and it is certainly a fast tempo. So what I find, especially for my beginning students, is they may already be pretty good at maintaining steady beat when it's like a moderate or slower tempo, but once the music gets faster like this one does, a lot of times they're going to do one of 2 things. They're either going to speed up a lot and get faster than the music itself, or they may struggle to keep up with the fast tempo. So this piece in particular is a good way to challenge them when they've already had some practice keeping a steady beat. Can they maintain that throughout this entire song? Now, the way that Lava Chicken is arranged is it happens in 4 sets of 8 counts at a time. So there's a whole lot of things that we can do with this one. Let's listen and see if you can identify those 4 counts of 8. Dun 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 dun, and so on. I want to pause for a quick second and give a shout out to a video done by Sammy Foster, who is from bucketdrumming.net. He is basically a bucket drumming guru, and I've mentioned him before in some of my videos. So I think the video is called something like, how many sounds can you find, or how many sounds can you make? I'll be sure to put a link to it up here so you can go watch it. But this was a video that I used in some of my co-op classes that I taught this last semester. And what I love about it is he takes something simple like a set of sticks and the bucket drum, but he challenges the kids to think of how many different sounds or how many different ways can you make sound on the bucket drum. Because most of them, after they've learned the 4 basic ways to play it, sticks, bass, side, and rim, they just want to do that the whole time, and they think those are the only options on the menu for playing. So after you start the video, you basically pause it and you allow the students a few minutes to explore and experiment different ways to make sounds on their bucket drums. And so I think when I did this one with my class, the kids probably came up with somewhere in the range of maybe 8, 10, or 12 different ideas of ways to make sounds on the bucket drum. Then you unpause the video, and as they proceed to watch him think of all the different ways, really thinking outside the box of how he can make sounds, I don't know, he comes up with something like 20, 24 different ways to play, and that's not even the limit. So what I love about this video in particular is it really encourages them to be creative, think outside the box, and try experimenting with different ways to make rhythm sounds. So now going back to keeping the steady beat with Lava Chicken, we're going to take this same concept and apply it to our rhythm sticks. If you have passed these out and you've told the students, okay, we need to come up with some type of steady beat movements to do for 4 counts of 8. Well, of course, the basic thing everyone's going to think of is either just tapping the sticks together or possibly scraping them if you have these ridged ones like this one. But challenge your students to think outside the box and figure out, okay, just using these 2 sets of rhythm sticks, what are all the different ways that we can tap them on different types of surfaces and materials? Or what if I partner you up with somebody else who has a pair of rhythm sticks? Can you kind of choreograph different steady beat movements? So just looking around where I'm sitting right here, I have a metal bar on my chair. I've got my desk in front of me. Really, I can use the things in my environment and the people around me that are playing as well to come up with some different ways that are more interesting to show the steady beat versus just these simple 2 motions. So I might even make an analogy for the kids. Think about me as a beginner Minecraft player. If you told me to go out and build a house and I don't have a whole lot of experience, which I don't, I'm going to come up with something just very basic. You know, my typical rectangular shaped house with a slanted roof and maybe a door and a couple windows, because I just really haven't had enough time to explore in that Minecraft world. But when you watch people like my own kids, and they've been playing a ton, they can just whip out all kinds of crazy creations that are really cool. So we're going to apply that same principle as we keep a steady beat. Even though that's a very simple concept, there are all kinds of ways that we can make it more challenging and more interesting for our students. Now let's move on to the next rhythm activity, which is going to be better suited for your older students or those who already have a good solid musical foundation. In order to do this next activity, they need to already understand how to count basic rhythms, what is a musical measure and how do we organize music in that way, and also understanding time signature. Once they have grasped those concepts, you are ready to introduce them to the concept of pickup notes. You will hear these pickup notes all throughout the song of Lava Chicken, because if you're listening to the version which has words, or even if the kids are just singing it in their heads, it always happens on the la 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 part right before the actual first word, lava. So the way I would explain pickup notes, particularly at the beginning of a song, but even leading into a new line of music, is it's a short set of notes. It's not a full measure, but they pick up to or lead into the first downbeat of a full measure in music. So this is particularly important to know about if you are going to be playing or even singing in a group ensemble. So if you're watching a conductor, and let's say that person is conducting 4 beats at a time, well, when do I actually begin singing or playing? On which beat does that happen? So pickup notes are really important, and it's a great way to teach math skills as well. If you want to start out really simple, you can introduce to your students that the pickup notes happen on the la 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 part before the first full measure. So you could play the entire recording for them and have them count how many times they hear the little la 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 pattern occur. I don't actually have the number off the top of my head, but you're welcome to go listen to it and see if you can figure it out. What I want to show you right here is how you can visually help your students understand what beat do I start playing or do I start singing on when pickup notes occur. The visual idea I want to show you here is kind of borrowed from the piano series that I teach out of, which is Faber Piano Adventures. And I believe the pickup notes or the upbeats are first introduced in level 1, at least for the older beginner series. And so I really like the way they show it, especially in the theory books, because they're helping the students to understand, okay, which beat in each measure do I actually begin playing on. So let me show you this one as an example. Here I've drawn out 4 complete measures of music, and I've also identified that my time signature is 4/4. So what I know is that every measure of the song needs to have 4 beats total, right? Well, here's the pickup note getting ready for this rhythm, but I only see 1 beat by itself. How can that happen, or how can that be possible? Because I'm playing in a 4/4 time signature. So we scan ahead, we practice counting the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh, this measure is not complete. It only has 3 beats of rhythm in it. So guess where they borrowed this pickup note from? Bingo, right there in the final measure. So if I show them this rhythm example, I'm going to ask, okay, which beat of the measure does this pickup note happen on? And they can then figure out, oh, it's actually starting the song on beat number 4. Now I've changed the example a little bit because I want them to see the actual pickup notes that occur in the Lava Chicken song. So I didn't change anything about these middle measures here with the different rhythms, but I did change the ending so that they will be able to guess, okay, which beat do the pickup notes actually start on? So see if you can figure it out. Let's count it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, here's my clue. That one only has half of a beat. So where is the 3 and? Bingo! It's up here on the pickup notes. And 4 and. Okay, or if you're thinking the Lava Chicken song, la, la, la leads me into the first full measure. So this is kind of a tricky one, but we're helping them understand the concept that when pickup notes happen, especially at the beginning of a song, the way that we can figure out which beat we're actually starting on is to go all the way to the end and figure out what's missing in that final measure. So this is definitely a more rhythmically advanced concept for students to learn, but you can simplify it as much as you want to. It doesn't have to be specifically the la 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 rhythm from that piece. You can come up with your own examples and help them figure out the math of pickup notes. Finally, we're going to end with a musical discussion activity where we are going to relate Lava Chicken to other songs that they may have heard in different video games. Now, I'm sure if you just ask your kids or your students, they will be full of all kinds of different ideas, but the first one that comes to my mind to compare is the Mario theme song. What I love about a musical discussion like this is, again, we can hear everybody's input and everybody's thoughts, and it doesn't have to be some fancy formal activity. You can use the Venn diagram or your lists if you want to. But even if we're just discussing this out loud, we can do this with kids of all ages and help them to increase their musical vocabulary and be able to speak about any type of song using correct terminology. So I love doing this type of thing. Let's say, for example, I have played a clip of Lava Chicken and the Mario theme song back to back. And let's say I'm asking some really younger students to tell me, okay, based on what you heard, can you identify anything that's the same about both songs that one reminds you of the other? So kid raises his hand and he says, they're both kind of fast and bouncy sounding. Okay, perfect. That's a great answer. But we're going to help him increase his musical vocabulary by inserting some new words. You're right. It does sound really fast, and there's a word for the speed of music called tempo. So instead, let's say both songs have a fast tempo. Now, he may not know about articulation in music yet, but if he's mentioned something like it sounds bouncy, we can identify, oh, there's actually a musical word for bouncy called staccato. And I could draw a music note with the staccato dot underneath it. And now I have just introduced a new word where, again, the student already was able to hear the bouncy sound in Lava Chicken or in the Mario theme song. But now we've helped them increase their vocabulary by introducing the word staccato. So this is a great exercise to use, whether you're teaching really young students all the way up to even adults can have this type of musical discussion and practice using their musical terminology. One other extra idea that I will share is if you are teaching younger kids, especially those who like to draw, and we want to relate this to Minecraft, maybe play the Lava Chicken song while having them illustrate a scene reflecting Minecraft. But when they show it and they talk about it, they need to practice using some of their music terms. So I drew this scene because I heard the fast tempo in the music and it reminded me of blank. As we're wrapping up this series today, I want to remind you all of one more really important thing, and that is meeting our kids or meeting our students where they're at. So maybe Minecraft is not your absolute favorite thing. Maybe you don't enjoy playing it, or you've never played it, or never really listened to the music. But the point is, when we get invested in the things that our students like, it really means a lot to them. So when I say, this is important to me because you are important to me and it's something that you like, it goes such a long way, especially in future classes or lessons when we're asking them to listen to a new style of music that maybe isn't their favorite thing. They will remember that you took the effort to try and invest in the things that are interesting to them. And beyond that, Minecraft really does have some really cool music in it, and I would totally encourage you to go check out more of those music discs. You can find all of them on YouTube. So be sure to check those out, and I really have just started to scratch the surface with these Minecraft music lessons. If you can think of another specific song that you would love to hear me do some activities related to, please be sure to drop those in the comments below, and I would love to hear your suggestions. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy music making.